Hello and welcome back. In this video, we'll be learning how to use array command in AutoCAD. In the previous set of videos, we are going with the topic that is known as modification tools, in which we have learned various tools. You can say move, copy, rotate, mirror, scale, etc., like fillet chamfer as well. Also trim and extend. So today we are going to start with the next one that is known as array. Okay, so first I'll give you a little background about this command and then we'll start with the command. For array, the command is AR-enter, and you might notice that today I'm only teaching you one command for this video. Okay, so because this command is quite extensive and it requires a separate attention. So that is the reason I'm showing you this command separately. Now array is of two types. One is rectangular array, one is polar array. Now some of you might say there is one more type of array called path array, and totally agreed. But for this video, we are going to only understand about the basic two types of arrays which were there before 2010 version of SolidWorks. Sorry, before 2010 version of AutoCAD. For example, let's say I have a rectangle here and I want to create a similar object. Okay, I want to create a similar object multiple times. Okay, for example, like one rectangle here. Okay, one rectangle here. So I can simply use copy to get this kind of arrangement ready. But there are some unique arrangements which can be created very easily with the help of array command. Okay, for example, let's say I have few set of rectangles here as well, and I have few set of rectangle here as well. Okay, now in this kind of arrangement, we can notice that the same object has been copied multiple times. Okay, in this particular diagram. Now we can say that this is our first object. Okay, this is our first object, this is our second object, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. And this, all the four objects are in one single row. Okay, they are in one single row. So this is known as row. And in this rows, we have four objects. Okay, similarly over here, this is known as columns. Okay, so we have rows and we have columns. Now in the software, when we are defining an array, we have to define few things. For example, number one, what object we are going to array with, like this is the object or this is the primary object using which we are going to create this arrangement. Number two, how many number of rows and how many number of columns are going to come. For example, in this case, in this particular example, we have total rows 3 and we have total columns as 5. So we have 5 columns and 3 rows for this example. Okay, now the next very important thing we need to define is what will be the gap or distance between the first and the second row, and what will be the gap or distance between the first and the second column. Now distance between the rows or distance between the column is very simple thing. For example, here the distance between the column is a distance from this corner till this corner. Okay, so this is the distance between my column. So distance between a column means the length of the object plus the gap you want. So if the length is 50 and you want a gap of 10, then the distance between the column will be 60. Same goes with rows. So for example, here the distance between the rows will be the length of the object again and the gap. Okay, so that will be the distance between the rows. So this is how we can understand rectangular array. This is how we can understand rectangular array, and on the screen itself we'll learn how to use polar array. Rectangular array is something which is very simple to replicate using copy command, but polar array is little difficult to do. So first what I'll do is to teach you array, I'll start with a rectangle of dimension 50 by 30. Okay, if you don't know how to create rectangle with a proper dimension, then you should check the previous videos in which I have already explained how to create rectangle command, or properly like how to create rectangle using dimension method of rectangle command. Okay, so here I have a proper rectangle of length 50 with a height of 30. So if I want to show the measurements, I can show it here. Okay, don't worry if you can't show the measurements as of now, it is not really required for this example. This is just to show you that the length is 50 and the width is 30. You can have some more objects or some more detail. Okay, for example, like this is the logo for a camera. Okay, like kind of thing you can create. Now I'll go for array, AR enter, then I'll select the entire object. Okay, or whatever objects you want to multiply. So I'll select the object, then I'll press enter. Then it is asking me that I need to select a type of array. As I told you, there are two major types of array. Third one we are not going into for this basic part of the video. So we have rectangular array and we have polar array. These are the two main array. For performing rectangular array, I'm going to press R. For performing polar array, I'm going to press PO. Okay, for now I'm pressing R and then enter. So here we can see rectangular array is getting performed. Now, in this type of array, here we have columns, rows, and properties. Okay, we are not going to go into levels because this is a 3D property or a third dimension property. So here we can control how many number of columns do we have. Here we can control how many number of rows we have. Okay, and basic properties of my array. Now, for example, let's start with the first one, that is columns. Now, in this example, we have total of 4 columns. Okay, so if I want to increase the number of columns to, let's say, 6, I can change it. It is not directly reflected in the graphic area until you don't put your mouse there. So once you put the mouse there, you can see now it is updated. It takes a while to update. Okay, so don't worry about it. So here I have entered 6. Now I have 6 columns. Okay, similarly, if I enter 4 over here, now here I have 4 rows. Okay, now distance between the column is 75. So I want you to comment below what is the gap here. Okay, so you know the length is 50. So I want you to tell me if the distance is 75, then what is the gap here? You can type in the comment section below. Now, if I want a gap of 10, then the distance is 50 plus the gap of 10 is 60. So I'll give 60 over here. So now this means the gap here is between the two columns is 10. Same way, this is 30 plus I'll do 10. So that will change it to 40. Okay, so this is how we can specify the distance between the columns and the distance between the rows. We do also have total values, that is distance from the first column till the last column. Okay, distance from the first row till the last row. Okay, starting of the first column till the starting of the last column, starting of the first row till the starting of the last row. Okay, so this is how we can specify or create a rectangular array. Now, when we create an array for the first time, this particular command will be active, or this particular mode will be active, associative. Now, if this is active and if I close the array, okay, if this is active and if I close the array, later on also if I want to modify something, for example, if I select, you can see the entire array is getting selected and I can modify that. For example, I can change the number of rows, change the number of columns only because my array was associative. Now, to break this associativity, the problem with associativity is, for example, if I want to delete something, if I want to trim something, I cannot do that. Okay, so if I want to remove associativity, if you remember in the last lecture, we have also learned how to use explode command. Okay, so I can press X enter explode, I can select the object and then press enter. So now the associativity is removed. You can see now every object is now separated. Now the drawback of removing associativity is we cannot go back to the array command and change it. Okay, so for example, now if I want to delete this set of objects, so I can delete it. So it is always recommended to keep associativity on. And then if you don't want it to be associative, simply delete the or explode the array. So that way you can remove the associativity. Okay, so this is how we can perform a basic array, and this is known as rectangular array. Now let's try creating one example for circular array. Okay, now for circular array, there are multiple diagrams where circular array will be very helpful. For now, I'll create one simple one. So for example, let's say I have a circle here of diameter 120. So let's say here we have a circle of diameter 120. I'm creating one more circle in the center of diameter 15. So this is a smaller one. Then I'm moving this circle away from the center by activating ortho. Okay, let's say with a distance of 45. Okay, now what I want is I want similar circles here. Okay, I want to fill this entire part with this kind of circles. So let's say I want 6 of them, I want 10 of them or 12 of them. If you don't know array, then the easiest way to do that is by creating a polygon. Let's say if you need 8 of them, then create a polygon with 8th side inscribed in circle like this, and then copy this circle to each corner of the polygon. Right, so only if you don't know array. But if you know array, you can create this kind of diagrams in a much faster way. What I'll do to increase a little bit of complexity of this diagram, I'll create one line horizontally like this. Okay, there is no length defined to the line. I'll use offset with a distance of 5. I'll create an offset up and I'll create an offset down. Then I'll trim this line, excess portion of the line. I'll delete the middle one and I'll also trim this part of the object. Let's say I want to multiply this now. Okay, so in this case, even that polygon method will not work perfectly. Why? If you want to know, then I'll just do it for you. Let's say I'll create a polygon of 8 sides because it is not going to take much time. And now if I try to create a copy, you can understand the polygon method is not working because I need to also rotate the object. Okay, for example, if the copy is here, then the copy should be rotated by 90 degrees. Then only this is going to look perfect. And if the copy is here, it should be rotated by 45 degrees. So you don't only need to copy, but also need to rotate to get the perfect result. Okay, so because of that, we can use array. So I can type AR enter array. I can select the set of objects. Then I can press enter. Now I can choose the third method, that is polar. Okay, basically the second one for us. And for using polar, we have to type PO. Now, if you remember last time when doing rectangular array, as soon as we press R, the array was executing or getting executed. So here, if I type PO, the software asks me for the center point. So here I'll define this as the center point of my array. That is the center point of the main system. So here I'll define the center point of my array, and you can now see the array is getting performed. So polar array is like circular pattern and rectangular array is like linear pattern. Here we can define the number of items we need. For example, in this case, the number of items is set to 6. So I can specify, let's say I want 10 of them. So automatically the software will try to fill the information with 10 copies. Then here we can define how much angle to fill. For example, 180 degree. So if I want the 10 copies in only 180 degree, I can do that as well. So I'll keep it 360 for now for this example. Later on, I'm going to ask you to create some diagrams with wherein which you will be able to use this part as well. Okay, we are not going to go over rows and levels for now. Okay, because that is not very important. And practically speaking, I am using AutoCAD from last 15 years, but this particular option will not be useful for you. Okay, as of now. Here I can deactivate or activate associative. Okay, you already know what is the meaning of that. So I'll keep it active and I'll close the array. So by closing the array, and if associative is on, then if I click on the array, I can go back and do some changes. Okay, but if you want to remove the associativity, I can simply press X enter and I can delete this set of objects if I don't want to have it. Okay, now coming to the practice diagram for this video. In the previous video, we have already completed this diagram for the practice. Okay, in this video, the diagram is little difficult. Okay, that is this one. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just show you a view without the dimension so that you can clearly understand what the diagram is. Now I'll show you the view with the dimension. Now I'll just read out the dimension so that it is not difficult for you. I'll start from the center. So in the center, the circle is of diameter 44. Then this dotted circle is of radius 89. Okay, the gap between these two set of lines is 30. The angle of this line is 30 degree again. The distance between this circle and this circle is 33.5. Then the radius of this semicircle is 25. And there are total 12 holes. Basically, these are holes. Okay, there are total 12 holes, each of diameter 14. Okay, and as you can see, there are total of 6 copies. So, and this line is tangential from this semicircle to this semicircle. So there are some very important, takeaways from this diagram, which you can also use it here. Okay, so try to create this diagram in the best possible way. Okay, I'm not asking you to make it 100%, but at least give it a try. If it is completed, then well and good. Okay, you can also comment the screenshot of your completed diagram in the comment section below. Otherwise, you can also see the next video in which I'll be explaining you how to complete this diagram. Okay. So thank you everyone. Have a great day.